Hi, my name is Fred Arzola, and I'm one of the authors of Youth Ministry for the 21st Century. In particular, I wrote the chapter entitled The Ecclesial View of Youth Ministry. Now, why did I write this chapter? In my experience, most youth ministry books address the areas of discipleship, worship, evangelism, leadership, service. These are all very, very important areas to look at. But my invitation is to examine ecclesiology because I think that if we have a more thoughtful theology of ecclesiology, then we will have a more thoughtful understanding of ministry, and it will help us to be more effective in how to do ministry. I think it's also important to look at the early church. It's important to always know that the early church existed about 300 years before the biblical canon. In other words, the New Testament writings flowed out of the early church, not the other way around. What are some of the areas I looked at? Well, one area is the resurgence of ecclesial thinking in the past decade or two. I lean on the works of Donald Blesh, Thomas Oden, and Robert Webber. I also examine what is called the incarnational or the visible perspective of ecclesiology as opposed to the invisible perspective. And I think you'll see how significant that is in that nuance. I also examine some of the problems that seeped into the church out of the Enlightenment. Some of the pragmatism, some of the leadership models, but also the ahistorical understanding of the church. And finally, I look at the four traditional characteristics of the church. The church is one, holy, Catholic, and apostolic. At the end of the chapter, I provide three specific ways for instituting historically orthodox practices in youth ministry. I hope you find this chapter informative, thought-provoking, maybe challenge you a little bit, but certainly encourage you to re-examine your ecclesiology and see how that might help inform your ministry, especially in your ministry to teens. Thanks for listening.